What's up, everybody? It's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog, and guess what? Rare, but we are going to have a Freedom Monday. Yes, we usually have a Freedom Friday, but today we got done early. We got people's clients' information done and wrapped up, so we're having a Freedom Monday. So 5 points. Today in this Freedom Monday, we're talking about the 1% and 5 ways to change your life. So 1%ers, again, more information comes out again and again that literally to be a part of the 1%, you got to make maybe $255,000 a year. It's not even as big as people are making it. They're like, million, they need to make $1 million a year. No. 255,000. Again, let's say that number again. To be in that 1%, 255,000. 1 in 5 working Americans, the key word now, working, make 100,000. Now you say, well, Erica, I don't know 5 people making 100,000. I do, but that's not the point. The key is they're out there, but it's that number of, when you get to like 150,000 to jump to 250,000 is like nothing, because it just, you and your wife or you and your husband adding 1 or 2 rental properties, kicking it up a notch. I mean, there's just several people I wish I could like bring on my show. They go to my church, they go to different events with me, that they literally, as a couple, once they paid stuff off, they were like, just gaining, just gaining, keep gaining. So, okay, sorry, I'm going to pull up the comments here. I love doing that for you guys. All right, so first, P and L. How do you change your life? Honestly, it is P and L. Where are you today? Like, you have to know today where you are financially. And that's why in the Financial Freedom Starting from the Basement course, I have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4, actually I have 5 different types of sheets that show your assets. What are your assets? What is your total net worth? Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, man, I don't got time for that, Erica. But you do. You need to know what's going out, what's coming in. Now, the net worth is the bigger overarching thing. And here's how I look at it. And this is what I tell people who watch this show. If you're got a nice house, got a nice car, got some student loan debt, and you're paying those things off, I am never going to hound you and be like, you need to get rid of everything right now. No, it's a process, and I respect that. But as you pay those things off, as you get more assets, it goes in the right direction. There's even a blog article I wrote about how to increase your net worth in 5 years. You can start with $25 a week, $100 a week. You name it, you can start there. Radiance Music, glad to see you too. Lauren Henderson, hi. Okay, so when you get the P&L, and this is profit and loss if you're in a business. Any business that can't tell you their profit and loss, and here's the funny thing, a lot of times I meet people who are hairdressers on my show. They're hairdressers, they're truckers, they're different things, and they'll go, well, we'll make about around here. I need you to pinpoint that bad boy. I need you to get so tight with your numbers that when I call you that day, you go, look, so far the company's made over $2 grand, and it's the 5th day of the month, right? And we are expected to make $6 grand at the end of the month. Because what happens is once you narrow it down to how much I'm making a day, how much is coming in, you can know how much more you need to make. That goes with any business. I can come on here and go, I made about this much today, and this is the scheme of things, how much I made in the week, and this is how much more we need to make. So it's really important. That's why I say use Mint, use Acorns app, use those different apps to put away money and track your money and see where you are at. All right, so number 2, investment groups. So here's a funny. I joined the Todd Capital group. I'm going to be enjoying the Tulsa Real Estate group. There's one other group I'm in that's more local in Texas. Anyway, and it's apartment investors. And people go, oh, why are you doing that? That's crazy. You're investing in a group. What's the exact dividends? What's the exact amount? And that stuff makes me laugh, because people who are like, so like, I'm going to give them $50 and they better give me $1 next month as my dividend return. You have no discipline and no control. You probably need to just go back to more hustling and putting more money away. If you're that tight on it, you can't relax $50 and wait a few months. So anyway, the point of the thing is I'm in these invested groups, and as soon as I start talking about it, my friend's mom, who's 72 years old, was like, girl, I've been in an investment group for 10 years. Yeah, I already, I've been done that. Yeah, we bought a couple apartments and everything. And it's like, what's old is new again? Because here's the funny part. There are people in different cultures, Chinese, Korean, Japanese. There are Haitian groups, Nigerian groups. There are people in Dallas and Houston and all different parts who are in these little investment clubs and have been working together for years and doing just fine. And what's funny is it's the lack of knowledge. It's the lack of exposure. If I say 1 in 5 people make $100,000. First day out of somebody's mouth was like, well, everybody I know work at KFC. Everybody I know is a teacher. Everybody I know is blah, blah, blah. But does everybody you know count as all of America? I used to really feel left out when I would speak with other African Americans, other Lumbee Indians, and other Native American groups, and I'd be like, man, my family's just as awkward. And then the more I went and visited, the more I moved military towns, I'm like, no, my family's not awkward. We're just not a part of that group. We're not a part of that financial group. Like, that's not our life. Like, that over there doesn't equate to our life. So, I mean, I remember moving to one of our neighborhoods, and my mom had recently got divorced, and we bought this 2-story house on the lake. My mom had 2 cars, and all my neighbors, who clearly were talking behind doors, would tell their kids, I don't know how she can afford that as a woman by herself. That's crazy. And I remember telling my mom, like, some kids are talking bad about us. And she goes, honey, I can't help it if 2 grown adults can't figure out their money and their house, and one woman can. And that really stuck with me, because I thought, wow, that's so true. You have 2 working adults living in the exact same neighborhood we are, but they're wigging out about money. And my mom, recently divorced, single mom, is sitting here with her little accounting book. I love it. She has this little green accounting book. She writes down all the bills when they go out, when they come in. And it was some of the first things I've ever learned about accounting for my money. So again, investment groups are nothing new. Lending club, investment club, buying notes, none of that stuff is new. The key is it's just new to you. It's just new to you if you don't know other people who are in investment groups. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for some of y'all. If you have questions, please feel free. SPI Latino said, hello. Investments are not for emotional people. Think of that money as non-existent. Exactly. So when I talk about Digit app and Acorn app, and like when I use them, you know, if I was to say, hey, Erica, you make 10 grand a month. Do you put away $2,000 on the dot, the 20% rule you're telling everybody else to follow? I go, sometimes I don't. But what happens is I have these apps, and I have a certain amount that's automatically coming out at the 15th and 20th and other parts of the month that get me up to that number, because I know if you're emotional, or if you're thinking, I would love to go on a vacation this month. Some people might tap into their account and spend that money, instead of going, this money is just a tool. It is a tool for my future. It is a tool for later. I remember, I don't know if you guys see my story. I talk about it here. When I was working full-time in an apartment complex, then I was working at Papa John's Pizza, and I was doing something else on the weekend before I built my painting company. And the crazy part was, I was literally putting whole chunks of one income away. I mean, I was putting in $5 at a time in bank certificates. I was putting it in lending club. I was putting it away as fast as I could. I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to consider this like $1,500 a month I get from Papa John's, because it's not even, it's just extra. It's to keep me afloat if something happens in an emergency. And, you know, you guys know my story about my appendix going out, and I had to lay down for like a month. I mean, it was like hardcore, you know, emergency appendix removal. And what was funny is, like, as I looked at the next 7 months, money just kept coming back to me in my bank certificates, kept coming back to me in lending club when people paid their payments, kept coming back to me in other little ways where I had little investments. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for that discipline, and not for the appendix going out, but grateful for the discipline to know you've got to have this side money, this 20-30% you don't touch, that just goes away. I mean, if you guys ever look up Mr. Money Mustache, him and his wife retired about 30 years old, and they just saved like 70% of their income. They lived like broke college students. And then when they're 30, he was like, man, we have enough money in our investment accounts to just draw 40 grand a year every year. Well, what did he do? Of course, he actually ended up, you know, buying an investment property and doing other things. But the key here is, it's putting away that money, you know, in the longer you put away the money, the better. Now, here's my argument about retirement and investment groups is, I have several clients who are like, I'm 55. And and nobody knocks to hear. Nobody, no, I knock anybody. I'm 55 and I'll be done in 5 years. Well, I would literally say, instead of us throwing a bunch of money in your 401k, instead of us throwing a bunch of money into a monthly club, dividend stocks, and all that stuff like that, I'd much rather you buy for the next 5 years, so we can retire you, 2 properties every year. Because at the end of the year 5, if you've got 10 properties, let's say you got 10 houses on the edges of, you know, what do you call it? Sugar land down there, or Pearland. There's actually a Pearland, Texas. Pearland, Texas. If you got 10 rental properties renting out for $1,300 a month, every single month, you've got 13 grand coming in with 10 properties. You know, your retirement, even if you cut that in half, let's say you Well, Ericka, my mortgages. Let's say mortgages, expenses, insurance. Cut that 13,000 in half. You're still at what, 6,000 some change? You're gonna have a better retirement plan in 5 years than most other people will. And that goes for somebody also who's in their mid-30s and going, you know what, we got time, but we want to have a bunch of kids. Okay, well, kids are expensive. If you buy one house a year, just one house a year, in 10 years, by the time your baby boy or baby girl is 10 years old, you guys got 10 properties, got 100K almost a year coming in, depending on, your rental rates. But whenever I talk about rental rates on here, I'm talking about the average, 900 to 1,200 kind of building. I'm talking to investing towards families, single family units. Now we could go that even faster and say fourplex, threeplex. You guys see me talk about Billwood properties on here, and me and Charlie might have something in the future, a show on real estate. So you guys give me any feedback, any ideas you have on things you want to talk about with a real estate expert in a whole nother state. I'm here in Texas. He's in Maryland. He's going to have another office in Richmond, Virginia. If you have any questions for that, put them in the comments for the future. But the key here is, let's say you get a threeplex, and after all your rents come in, it's about $700 rent each unit or so, $2,001, $2,100 coming in a month on that property before your mortgage. Well, if you get 3 of those bad boys, you got six grand coming in before you take money out for mortgage, right? So let's say you get one of those every single year. 5 years times 3 units every year. Get a unit every year. That's what, 15 units? I mean, you have a way different life in 5 years than many other people do. And I'm not talking about something unreasonable. I'm talking about anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 in down payments and closing costs. And so hopefully soon in the future, probably the next 90 days to 120 days, you guys will get to see something I'm investing in Greensboro. Just to give you the example, because some people are like, this is so crazy, Ericka. And I'm like, but it's not. It's a legit thing. And a lot of you are working 10, 20, 15 years at the same job or in the same career field, and a bank would much more happy to give you money than give me money. They're like, girl, what are you doing? You own businesses, you don't work no job? I'll be like, no, sir, I don't work any job. This is my business. Here's my information. Here's my taxes. They much rather lend to you because you're already working at a job, paying on a house, has a nice car, years. So just one of those things. Okay, so number 3, low-hanging fruit. We always make a joke on here about no money Melvins, zero risk Donnie, and I got that honestly from Alex Becker, who gets probably a bajillion more emails than I do about people saying, hey, I want to do this thing, but I don't want to spend any money. I don't want to spend no money down. I don't got any money for ads. I don't got any money for training. I don't have money to increase my own value. It's funny because it's like low-hanging fruit here, and what I really want to be honest, low-hanging fruit is job changes. So not everybody can start a business. Not everybody's equipped to run a business. Not everybody has a teamwork around them to run something more than just a hustle. So you make your money not in pay raises, but in job switches. I have one friend who went from $52 an hour to $55 an hour, if I'm not mistaken, and he switched here in Austin 3 different times, engineering jobs. Now you're gonna say, well, that's crazy, Ericka, because he's an engineer. He's in demand. But there are a lot of people. There are a lot of jobs. Like when I came to Austin, every time I moved to a city, when I moved to Charlotte, when I moved to Raleigh, when I moved here, every time I move, I learn about 10 to 20 different jobs I've never, ever heard of in my life. And it's like, that's actually an industry. That's actually something you can do. There are so many jobs. And sometimes you guys call me and say, Ericka, what do you think about this business? I don't know anything about that business. That's new to me, right? And so you have to go find people who know that stuff. You have to go interact with people who are in different careers. But the only way you do that is with job changes. I tell you this again and again. My friends work at HEB, Lowe's, and they're in a couple other companies as HR representatives. And they will say it over and over again. Ericka, people will be in jobs 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years, hating the job, not growing, and then come here. And when I talk to them about, hey, we're fast paced, we're going to make you take courses, we're going to make you grow, people are kind of shocked. And the thing of it is you have to, if you want the pay raises and you're saying, Ericka, business is not for me, then the pay raises come in the job switches. And that's your low hanging fruit, right? So because people say, Ericka, you want everybody to start their own company. And that's not true. I don't. If you don't feel like starting a company is for you, don't do it. But make sure you're going out there, seeking recruiters, going on Indeed.com, going on LinkedIn. A lot of times I ask you guys on this show, hey, totally give me a referral on LinkedIn. I'll connect with you. And a lot of people are like, I don't even have LinkedIn, Ericka. And And I go, are you serious? Like, you have no way to connect with other professional people outside of your sphere, outside of your office, outside of your job, outside of a meetup group? And that's some of the things I talk with people about. So that's a low-hanging fruit. Switching jobs, moving for the job pay. Now, many people say, well, Ericka, I want to stay in my town. I don't want to keep moving for the pay. Well, at that point, then we are back on investing. We're back on putting money away, right? Because you don't want to move or you don't want to switch jobs, then that's where you're back at, square one. So there's a lot of comments. I'm going to reach over and see some of them, but I have 2 more points today. Let's see here. And people don't know the power of pooling resource. That's very true. I don't even know how to explain to you right now. I'm kicking myself. And I've told you guys this on the channel. One of my friends, he's actually my business partner. He came to me about 3 years ago and said, hey man, let's go get this house in Pflugerville. And Pflugerville now, everything's like $180,000 to $250,000. But 3 years ago, there was a property, it was $135,000. I had enough for the down payment. He had enough credit for the closing. By the time we worked all that stuff out and closed, we would have had that property. And I was like, I just don't know. I don't even know. Come to find out, that same friend and 2 of our other guy friends went and bought a house down South Boston together. Well, then now we're 3 years later, only 3. Each out of that 3 dudes, one of the dudes is on his 2nd house, the other dude's on his 3rd house. So it's like, you got to decide, is this group worth pooling my money together with? I probably should have done that. In retrospect, I should have done that. I could have even lived there and rented the rooms out and it'd have been fine for 1 year and then move, you know, and rent the whole house out, right? So you got to figure out, is this a good deal, and by the numbers. Just do it by the numbers. It actually takes a lot of the emotion out. So Keisha Flowers, what do you think about Stash App? Stash App is actually one of the things I talk about in my course. I think Stash App is wonderful. Again, the book I have, Smartphone Millionaire, it has over 50 apps in it that I talk about. So if you find one that you like out of that 50 that I mentioned in the book, take it, run with it. I find that, I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram, but I was showing, I think probably on Stash App, probably, is people investing at a 5-year rate, right? They invest $25 a week and maybe an overarching 5% annual gain. You know, in 5 years, that person has $7,000. Well, let's kick it up to $100 a week. In 5 years, that person will have $30,000 sitting aside. Now let's kick it up to $400 a week, which is super high, but imagine if I was delivering pizzas again as my side thing and I just took the whole paycheck and chucked it over. So $400 a week, you'd have $119,000 in 5 years. So what do I think about Stash App? I think it's a great way for you to start putting $25 away a week. It's your choice though. So, all right, Alvin Hollander, passive investments are cool. Only issue is you can't control them. So what do you mean passive investments? You can't control them. Because real estate, you can control who rents your property out. What's your level? What is your description of passive? Because to me, monthly dividend stocks are passive because you really don't have control over those. Bank certificates are passive, but you do have control, but you're only going to get a small 1%. Buying lending notes is not passive. You have control who you put the money with and which notes you pick. What else? It depends on what's your definition of passive income, because right now I'll say it like this. I have 3 books on the website. Every day I sell 1 or 2 books every single day. There's some days I sell 10. That's just a passive income where I put a book together. I told you what I do, follow it step by step. Here you go. And every day I get book sales. Whether there's the Rise of 1099 Economy, the Ladder Income book. There's another book. I'm not even gonna say its name because I'm updating it. But every single day I get book sales because there's people out there who need that information and can apply it. So that's a passive income that I control. So it just depends on what's your definition there. Alan Hodger, you put your money in them, you usually get burned, can't lose. I grew up in Pearland, maybe moving back there soon. You got good Houston connects, you know the suburbs. So Alvin, yeah, I came down. So here's the story about Pearland, as I try not to get too off the rails today, but Pearland, I was in Texas. I moved to Clean first, working with the sales company. I drove down to Pearland to go check on our friends. They had a garage full of Zippo lighters. Let me say that again. They had a garage, 2-door garage in Sugar Land of Zippo lighters. Why did they have all these Zippo lighters? These Zippo lighters, they were the only Zippo lighters that could go in all the spec stores in all of Texas. They had the contract. How did they have the contract? They knew the owner and his daughter. So do connects make sense? Yes. Does it make sense to network? Yes. Does it make sense to get away from the 5 people you've known all your life that work at KFC with you? Yes. If there's nothing else I can tell you guys, is like lack of knowledge, lack of moving around. I mean, number 4 on my list today is lack of knowledge. I'll tell people, this guy made a comment in one of these videos, making $50,000 a year with an associate's degree. And this guy was like, where, how? And it's like, go to your local community college. There's things for being a banker, person who services bank loans. There's notaries. There's all kind of stuff. There's things to work as a courthouse as a clerk. There's ways to do a bajillion things, welding, all this stuff that's available at your local community college, but people won't even take the time to go look. They'll go, I want to get paid $50,000 a year, but they won't get any certificates. They won't gain any knowledge. And I mean, there's an article Glenda Cameron put out talking about the dumbing down of America, and it's true. It's like there's an aversion to like, why you got to be so smart? Why you got to be a know-it-all? And I'm like, well, damn, I'm trying to live better than what I'm living. A lot of times people look on Instagram and they go, well, they've got something I don't got. And I would tell you 9 times out of 10, I know some of those people, and all they got is a credit card. And they go into Italy on a credit card because they keep their other expenses low. And that's all. So anyway, but lack of knowledge, lack of not knowing other people, lack of connects in group. I remember when I first came to Austin, I think 5 days out of the week, I went to meetup groups on purpose. Like I will talk to X amount of people every single time. And many people say, well, Ericka, I'm an introvert. I can't do that. Well, if you're an introvert, you're going to have to make an effort for at least twice a week, right? Because anything we want, we got to put a little bit of time into, correct? Even if you're an introvert, what did you do when it came to dating? At least twice a week, you went and looked for somebody, didn't you? Don't blame me on that. When you want something, you'll go get it. So keyword, I don't want to hear that mess. All right, let's see. You got some more questions? Okay, Ericka, what online tools you use to watch things like new housing construction starts, home sales, mortgage orientation, defaults, basically stuff that watch the bigger market? So again, Alvin, on this one, okay, so this is what I tell people. And sometimes people will come and get consulting from me. They're like, I want to be all up in real estate. I want to flip houses. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to be at auction sales. I want to do that. I go, no, don't do that. Specialize in the one thing you want to do. Now, why do I say that? Because you can't know everything. You can't be everywhere. But what you can have is a team. If you can find in a real estate investing team that you want to be a part of, you can put it out there. Hey, does anybody know the big construction heads in town? That's your job to know what's the big construction stuff coming out. Okay, you're on this team. It's your job to know whenever auctions are. If you have a guy, I mean, this is for guys and this is for girls too, but if you're a guy and you get 4 guy friends that are serious about real estate and each person is specializing in their thing, man, you got a powerhouse mastermind right there. And I'm really serious. Like it's about, like when people talk about wanting to get in real estate, it is like a whole life change. Like for a good year, all I knew was other realtors, other appraisers, other, inspection guys, other house flippers. And I'd be talking to people and they'd be like, how do you know these people? And I go, when you start changing careers or changing your mindset from just working your 9 to 5 to like, I'm going to be an investor or I'm going to be a business owner, your circle has to change. And I think that scares people. The fear of loss, the fear of losing those Saturdays with my friends, just cooking out and chilling out. You're going to lose a little bit of that, but gain new people. So that's my biggest thing for how do you keep, what online tools do I use for that? People. I'm not even crapping you, people. Like right now in my Rolodex, if I want to roll out and say, ask somebody about Virginia, what's going on in Virginia, what's going on in DC, I can. If I want to ask somebody about what's going on in Greensboro and Raleigh, I can. I have 5 people on the post there. If I want to call somebody and ask what's going on in Florida and what's going on in Houston and Dallas, now I do have. Before I was struggling to get somebody in Houston and Dallas, but now I do have. But people are your number one because they're, to them, what's most important to you, Alvin, right? Because whatever it is that's important to you, you'll figure it out and you'll study it and you'll know it. So if I call my friend and I go, hey man, what's going on with South Dallas? You know any deals? Tell me about South Dallas. Tim Jackson tomorrow is going to tell you a lot about Dallas. So if anybody's interested in Dallas, watch tomorrow's show. But that person knows Dallas because it is their business to know Dallas. Right now, it's my business to help as many people as possible switch over, get that LLC, get that credit looking shiny, get that business bank account. Let's get some funding and let me connect you to some of my friends who help me help other people buy those rentals, right? So, I mean, it's just a process, because what happens is now I've had clients that I've had for so long, looking back now, that I can invest with them in the city they're in. There's one guy, like, I'm like, dude, I'm willing to come to Raleigh and invest with you because I've worked with you and you put in the work. So it's all about building network. It's about building a team. If you want to have your finger on the pulse, knowing some contractors, knowing some construction people. Look up Devin McClish. Okay, Devan McClish. Saying his name kind of terrible, but he is a 24-year-old who now has 70 deals under his belt. Yeah, age doesn't matter. It matters who you know and how many times are you willing to pick up the phone and call people. So, relationships. All right, next couple of questions. Black Knight Coding. I'm at 125,000 W2 myself and trying to pick up a second 1099 job that will pay 100K a year on top of that. If I bust my butt for 3 years doing this, I can completely become debt free, including a 380K mortgage. Now, here's what I'm going to say on that. If you're making 125K a year, have you adjusted your W2 to get some of that tax money back? Number two on that, have you started a business and get some of your tax money back that way as well? Number three, and I'm going to say this and people don't believe me, what are your expenses? Because 9 times out of 10, when a guy tells me he makes 125,000, he's gone out and bought a Camaro. He's bought the house at the top of his budget. He's bought clothes at the top of his budget. He goes out and eats a lot. Because when you are a husband and wife team making 125, it's easier to jump to 250. It's easy in the jump there, because what happens is you don't live at the top of your budget because it's two people that has to talk about it. But when it's just a single guy, sometimes you guys live at the top of your budget. Same thing with women, live at the top of their budget. But two people there ought to be able to say, hey, let's go invest in 1 or 2 properties, and you'd get the additional. I always say, if you go on a low end, a $50,000 house, just count it as additional $5,000 income in your pocket. Okay, every house you kind of move up, you go to a $100,000 house, just count it as additional $9,000 in your pocket. You go up to a $200,000 house, and the rental rates on that, and the Airbnb on that, count it as additional maybe $15,000, $20,000 in your pocket. I hope y'all got that. I hope you took all those notes. Let's see. Black Knight Coding. Then 2 more years to acquire real estate assets, then I'm done for life. So here's my thing. I know people love the Dave Ramsey debt-free stuff and the debt-to-income ratio, but Black Knight Coding, if you're already making 125,000, let's say you just get one business line of credit or one business credit card for $40,000, and you take 20 grand off of it and put it into a property, a triplex, like I'm talking about with Billwood. Like, there's an additional 25,000 to 28,000 a year right there with just one property, one triplex. So it just depends on what's your goal. I'm not always jumping. I always tell people Dave Ramsey first thing, Robert Kiyosaki. But if you're already making high income, here's the thing about that. If you're making high income, you're not guaranteed to make it every year for the next 5 years. That's why I talk about my friend who jumps jobs, because he's like, you got to go where the money is, because you're not always guaranteed. Something might happen. They might lay you off, a recession. Good to be debt free if a recession happens. Even better for the guy who owns 5 or 6 properties. He's in a whole different position. All right. I don't buy bull. Hi, Erica. Well, hello. I don't buy bull. Alvin Hollander, passive investments like the stock variety. Okay, that's just, one type. Yeah. Life with Mr. Sweat. Do you still invest in Lending Club, and would you do a video on it? So I do invest in Lending Club, and it's in my course, the Financial Freedom from the Basement. And I think there's some old videos I have on it. So, I could do an update, but average 13% short of the story is I put about 1,000 in with a refund check, and I just kept reinvesting. There's more info in the course. But again, Lending Club is just an example. Prosper is another example. There's over 50 real estate investment sites. The 2 that I only work with right now, Todd Capital. Well, there's 3. Well, there's 4. Okay. The point is, Brad Sumrock in Dallas group, Rat Race to Freedom Retirement, apartment investing group. And then 2 is going to be Lending Club. 3 is going to be Todd Capital. Number 4 is going to be when they actually let you start investing. Tulsa Real Estate Fund with Jay Morrison. What else is my other one? Pretty much when I get money, I find somewhere for it to go and be active. And then because I'm a little bit more patient than other people, I'm like, oh, 6 months later, there's some more money in my account. So I'm more patient than most. But that's because I've had years where I've like hustle. All right. Alvin Holler, introverted, takes more effort. You're a real extrovert. You know, there was a time when I was a little kid that I had really bad speech issues, and I had a classroom teacher that just kept making me talk. So the funny part is, like, it became one of those things like, I'm gonna talk to you because I'm practicing, you know. But you know, as a kid, it's different when you're 5 and when you're 30 something. So anyway, let's see what we got here. I'm going to bring it closer. Black Knight Coding. Yes, I have a business. Nope on all those expenses. I did that between 2006 2010. Okay, made 6 figures of real estate. Was stupid with my money. Now back to 6 figures, being smart with my money. And yes, those taxes are crazy. Over 2,200 a month in taxes right now. Woo, that's way high, dude. That's way high. I would probably go look at your W-4, and on the second page, I think you guys have heard me talk about it in this channel, but if you go on the second page, the government always asks you, are you going to do a standardized deduction or an itemized deduction? And so whichever one you do, you know, again, consult CYA, consult your attorney, consult your accountant. You would put over there, let's say, example, itemized. I'm going to itemize $20,000. Okay, so the government's going to start taking less taxes from you because they're going to say on his tax return, this man's already going to have this amount accounted for, right? Because everybody thinks it's all about, I'm going to say I've got 9 dependents. No, that's dumb stuff. Go over to your second page and put in, and now if you do standard is like 6,300. I think if you're a single person, it's 9,300 if you're head of household. Again, consult your attorney, consult your accountant. You see my friend that I had on here, Terrence Hill, he's good with that. He'll help you with that. But what happens is when you put that on that second page, that eats down those taxes. Eats it down a lot. Okay. So, all right. Black Knight Coding. I got a frugal wife and 2 kids. We still live like I was making 40K 3 years ago. That's really good. You know, but it's like 125, you're living off 40, so that leaves you almost, you know, leaves you almost 80. But if you want to say, let's say 2 grand a month coming from you in taxes, let's say it's 20 in a year, it's almost 30 grand in taxes coming out of your account. So really you're back down to 90,000, and you guys are about 40, so it leaves about 50. If you got 50 left over, just saying. I'm just saying, if you could test it. I mean, I always say test yourself. Do a little test or little experiments, especially if you're a high income person. My friend was saying he had $20,000 on an American Express card because he's an engineer. He makes about 100 something a year or some change. And he looked up and was like, you know what? If I put 3 grand a month for the next X amount of months, I can be done with this card. And he actually pushed himself to do it. So I always tell people, you know, if you have wiggle room in your budget, test yourself, push yourself. One of the people that watches this channel, she had a job, she paid her good, but she didn't like it for 18 years, bought a condo, finally stopped renting, bought a condo. Her mortgage in Houston is 347 because it's a 50 something or 60,000 something condo. But at the end of the day, she was like, oh, do you know how much freedom I have with this lower expenses and lower budget? I can buy a second condo. So look, again, it's all about your approach and your technique, right? So, you know, you have to talk with your spouse or go, hey, listen, we're going to take an extra $1,000 a month and put this money away. This money's going away. I don't care if we got to go to the bank, put it in a bank certificate, if we got to put it in a separate account, let's hide it from ourselves. If we got to put the little, put the digit app on our phone and put, you know, I mean, I guess $30 a day away, you know, an additional $30 a day away. Because I tell you guys, here's a basic math. Here's a really simple tool. If you put $27 a day away and what's today's date? June 26th? You put $27 a day away. By June 27th of next year, you will have $10,000 in your bank account. But the key here is putting it away. And I'm not talking about stocks. I'm not talking about, I'm just talking about straight up saving $27 every single day. So, I mean, it's just simple. Keep it simple. You know, stupid is what they used to say. But I mean, when I meet people working 2 and 3 jobs, I'm go, hey man, just take 20 bucks a day and put it in some account where you cannot touch it. In a year from now, you'll thank yourself. All right. Make humanity greater sense of Black Knight Coding. You were in a Treehouse ad, weren't you? Dun, 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 dun. Black Knight Coding. Yes, I was. You're mute. Am I mute? Can y'all hear me? I see the green buttons going, so I don't know. Anyway, everybody, so this was going to be a short one. Wasn't going to be that long. Clearance, I still have volume over here, so you might have to refresh, and it looks like everybody else has volume, so it might be yours. You might have to check your stuff. Black Knight Cody said we can hear you. Yeah, Clarence, refresh your stuff. So, but anyway, the last fifth one is mindset. Why is the fifth one mindset? Because the fifth one is mindset because every time we talk about topics, you know, or I have clients that work over a 6-month period, 9 times out of 10, the faster we can go is where they're at. You can only move as fast or as slow as your mind takes you or your environments take you. So look, this was going to be a short one. But look, you guys have any questions? Last 30 seconds. You know the deal. Put them in there so we can wrap it up. Thank you, making me great. So you can hear me. Clarence says, I can't, my internet's bad. Sorry, Clarence. All right, guys, so listen, make sure you're checking out on this channel. We finally got the 4,000 some change subscribers. Super excited about it. Thank you guys for supporting this channel, bringing the questions, the consulting calls. I think I've did over about 500 consulting calls since November or so last year, October last year. So I thank you guys for that. Thank you for your support. You make this channel great. That's why I always try to give a discount here or there on some products and services. Again, if you guys want to talk to me, you know, hit me up. I'll put the link again in the bottom right now. I love working with y'all. Some of the best things I get to hear is I have a client in Florida and they're buying a triplex, and now they have the income to buy another one if they want. So that's great stuff for me. Another client who's in California bought a tax lien. 2 other clients in Virginia bought tax liens, and they've changed their future. Now they have a skill, they know how to do something, and they can share it with other people. So Black Knight Clothing said, thanks for all you do. See you all later. See you guys later. You guys have a great night. This is Ericka, Classy Clown Blog. See you guys tomorrow. Tim Jackson Realty, he's going to be here. He's talking about Dallas, Texas. You guys love asking me about DeSoto, Texas. He'll be here talking about that as well, how hot the market is, and what are some of the credit requirements. You guys have a great night.